Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Ryan Jackson from Ryan Jackson LLC. Hope y'all are having a blessed and wonderful day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will be rejoicing and be glad in it. Hope y'all are doing well out there. Many of your work days are over with. I hope you had a great day. And if you didn't, if so for some reason you didn't, keep in mind that tough times don't last, but tough people do. Put your faith and trust in Allah, and He will see you through. I could bear witness to that. Get into the topic for this video. I'm a huge college football fan. I got Charles, uh, my Charles Woodson jersey on, number 2. Only the first and only defensive Heisman player. Let me repeat that. Let me rephrase that again in the correct way. The only, the one and only defensive player ever to win the Heisman, Charles Woodson. Got number 2. Got his jersey on right here. Of course, we know he went on to have an excellent career in the NFL with the Raiders and the Packers. And he was number 24, the great Charles Woodson. Woody, great, phenomenal football player. Like I said, the one and only defensive player ever in college football history to win the Heisman. Salute to you, good brother. Thank you. So I love college football more than I love pro football. Always been that way. But I'm not happy with college football now, especially with what's going to happen within the next year or two. You have teams, so it's all about money. It's always been about money. Excuse me. But in years past, they still had morals, it seemed like. It's always been about money, but they respected them. Cal and Stanford are going to the ACC. Before that, we found out that USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten. Big Ten, Midwest schools. You have your Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio, that school down south, Ohio. Yeah, that school down south, Ohio, who I have such disdain for. Illinois, Indiana, Purdue, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Penn State, Nebraska, now Maryland, now Rutgers. This is what, that's the Big Ten. Now, USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten next year. Also next year, University of Cal Berkeley, where my wife attended. She graduated from University of Cal Berkeley. Her and my sister-in-law. Much shout out to them. They're Cal Bears. Cal and Stanford. I think my cousin-in-law graduated from Stanford. Shout out to her too. Cal and Stanford, great institutions. They're going to the ACC, which is way on the East Coast, the Atlantic Coast Conference, which has your Temples, is Temple in the ACC? I don't think there are. But it has Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, Virginia Tech. Those are all on the East Coast. So now the athletes on the West Coast have to travel all the way to the East Coast and vice versa. The athletes in the Southeast, in your Virginia, North Carolina region, Clemson, have to travel all the way to the West Coast. That's a 4-hour trip. Not to mention, they're still students. But are they really students? Athletics before academics. I mean, I get it. Athletics produce the revenue that they produce, these schools from college basketball, college football. It helps other aspects, other um, other things on the universities. It brings in a lot of revenue. Not only do they approve their arenas and the stadiums, but it help other programs on the universities. Let's just keep it 1,000. Without athletics, a lot of these universities wouldn't survive. They bank money on athletics. Athletics is a money maker. From Look at the University of Michigan. They're pretty much their own brand. I've been saying this for decades. The University of Michigan are kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of college football. I mean, they are. Everybody loves Michigan. People, you either love to hate Michigan or you hate to love them. One or the other. Or you're a diehard Michigan fan. One of those three things. But you go around the world, and I could bear witness to this. You wear that M hat or this jersey, go blue. Hail to the victors. Go blue. Go blue. Whenever I wear this jersey or my Desmond Howard jersey and that Michigan hat, my Michigan baseball cap, there are at least 5 or 6 people on average that are yell out, go blue. I could bear witness to it. I am, truth be told, everywhere I go, whether I'm out here in the street or I'm on vacation, no matter where I go. My wife and I were in New Orleans. We were at the airport. We had a layover. Was it Kansas City or Denver? One of those cities. And someone yelled out, I had on my Michigan jersey and my Michigan ball cap. And I counted 7 people. Go blue, go blue. I was in New Orleans in the French Quarter. An Uber driver was driving past me. We were walking in the French Quarter. Brother, go blue. I'm a big Michigan fan from New Orleans, an Uber driver. That's LSU country. That's SEC. And he wasn't the only one. Yeah, Charles Woodson guy. Yeah, right on. Woody was the man. Desmond Howard. But I say all this to say that I hated that the tradition of college football, it's like these athletic directors, they don't give a damn. Between the athletic directors, the presidents of these conferences, and then your ESPNs, your ABCs, your CBS, with all this going on, it's so much money. It's billions of dollars changing hands. It's ruining college football. We see what it's done to the NBA. We see what it's done to the NFL. It's doing it to college football now. Damn the traditions. So Stanford is going to be playing Clemson now. Stanford's going to be playing Florida State. If they elect to stay in the ACC, which they probably won't, and I said decades ago that the schools in the South need to be in the SEC. Sorry about that. I guess someone's at the door. It's a delivery, and my dog is being a dog. So my apologies for that. But so sorry about that pause. I just want to, yeah, it's a delivery. I'll get it here when I'm done with this video. But in any event, so now you're gonna have Cal playing Clemson, Virginia Tech playing Stanford. What is that? And they're gonna be doing this on a yearly basis. The travel these kids are gonna do, they have to be doing. One week you're playing on the West Coast. These are, you're playing on the West Coast, and the next week you may be playing the next 2 games on the East Coast, or however they're gonna do the schedule. It's insane. I believe Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC, which I agree with that. I agree with Texas and Oklahoma because that's still in that region. That's still in the South because now you have Texas, LSU, Oklahoma. Those are border states. So that makes sense. But to have a West Coast team play teams on the East Coast and be in the same conference when Cal and Stanford are on the Pacific Coast, they're in the Pac 12, and Virginia, North Carolina, and Clemson, they're on the Atlantic coast. Someone didn't learn geography. You have USC and UCLA playing in the Midwest, they're going to be playing Michigan, that school that's south of Michigan, um, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Penn State, which is in Pennsylvania. Make it make sense. Michigan got to come out here and play us UCLA and USC. So the Pac-12 is going to have what? Oregon State, and I forgot what other school. Arizona State. I can't remember how they doing it now. It's just someone who could Google that. Where's Oregon and Oregon State going? Are they sitting in the Pac-12 and Arizona State? I can't remember. Arizona. And someone brought up a good point. What about schools or sports that's non-football sports? Are they going to stay in their respective conferences? What is going on with this? Are they going to do this in college basketball too? Have UCLA and USC playing Michigan in college basketball? It's dumb. It's dumb. Completely and utterly dumb. Gone are the days of normality in college football. We love seeing Clemson and Florida State, Virginia Tech when they were on top of their game in Clemson. Those are classic games. If it ain't broke, why try to fix it or make it better? That's my hope. That's my motto that I've been living by since I was young. If it ain't broke, why try to fix it or why try to make it better? Sometimes change is not good. I dare to say change more often than none is not good because it's only benefiting the people that want to change. Not everybody wants this. The ADs, the conference presidents, they don't give a damn about the students. They don't give a damn about these athletes. They don't give a damn about what this travel is going to do to their bodies. It's just money, 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 money. Greed, 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 greed. Greed, greed, greed. It's just stupidity. I cannot make it any plainer than that. It's just dumb. Dumb. Hit that thumbs up button, smash that thumbs up button down. Hit the subscribe button so you get notifications on new videos on here. This money. They're already getting billions from the ESPNs, from the ABCs, from the CBS. Now Peacock. Peacock showed the Michigan game on Saturday. NBC. So is Notre Dame going to finally join the conference? I've been saying since the 90s that Notre Dame should join the Big Ten. It's in Big Ten country. You have two Indiana schools in the Big Ten, Indiana University and Purdue. They're in the Big Ten. Notre Dame is in South Bend. South Bend is in the region of Chicago, right there. What is it? I think an hour and a half from Chicago. 3 hours from my mom's house. I could get from my mom's house to South Bend in 3 hours. It's in that region, the Midwest. Why is it Notre Dame in the Big Ten? If you want to have schools join the conference, make it a regional thing, like the thing with Texas and Oklahoma. It makes sense for them to be in the SEC. That makes perfectly good sense. I agree with that because again, that's in the South, that's in the region. I didn't agree with Maryland and Rutgers coming to the Big Ten. I was against that. I thought it was stupid. Nebraska coming to the Big Ten. Uh, I guess it kind of makes sense because Nebraska is in the Midwest, so in a sense I guess that makes in a geographical way it makes sense. Traditionally, no. Nebraska was in the Big 12. Let them stay there. Let Maryland and Rutgers stay in the Big East. I was okay when Penn State joined the Big Ten in '92. No, I'm sorry. Was it '92 or did they join in '94? I think Penn State joined the Big Ten in '94. I was okay with that. Okay, whatever. And they should have kept it as is because Penn State was an independent school. Notre Dame, Michigan and Notre Dame used to play every year. But when Michigan started taxing that ass on them the last time they played, now they don't want to play us no more. We haven't played them in since 2019 because we destroyed them the last time we played them. Now they don't want to play us until 2033. We don't play them again for another 10 years. Notre Dame is scared of Michigan. Let's admit it. Notre Dame is scared of Michigan. When Notre Dame was beating Michigan, it was okay. They beat us in 2018. We said, okay, y'all got us this year. We're running back next year. Y'all come to Ann Arbor, come to the big house. We see you in 2019. We saw them in 2019, and we told them up. We mollywopped them. Oh, but we don't want to play y'all again. Y'all beat us too bad. We don't want to play y'all for another 14 years. Really? When y'all beat us the previous year, that was all fun and games. Touchdown Jesus and this and that. When we say, okay, we see you next year in the big house. But then again, but then when we beat y'all, Notre Dame, that is, y'all want to cry. Y'all don't want to take it. Y'all don't want to take that whooping. Y'all didn't want to take the L. We don't want to play y'all for another 14 years. Well, screw y'all then. We'll beat y'all then. Go blue. But this whole thing with college football is sad. And like I said, this is the last year of normality in college football because it's just running amok now. My dearly departed father, me and him used to say back in the 90s, almost 30 years ago, we said, hey cuz, how's it going? Thank you for coming on here. Um, we said years ago that college athletes should be paid. It's not right that the universities are making billions and billions and billions. At that time, well, yeah, I guess it was billions in the 90s, multi millions. It's in the billions now. They're making all this money on the athletes, all this money. But then you want to sit up here and say, well, their job is to go to school and get an education. No, that's not true. That's bullshit. Their job is to play sports and make everybody rich but themselves. It's slavery. I'm glad now that the NIL has came through. I agree with the NIL. I agree wholeheartedly with the NIL. The NIL should have been in effect back in the 80s. Could y'all imagine what Michael Jordan would have been getting paid at North Carolina? Sam Perkins, James Worthy, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler at Houston, the great Ralph Sampson at Virginia, Glenn Rice at Michigan, Gary Grant, General Grant at Michigan. Could y'all Magic Johnson even? All these great college athletes in the 80s. Could y'all imagine what they would have got paid? Jim Harbaugh when he was quarterback at Michigan. Into the 90s, the Fab Five. The fact that they took Michigan's Big Ten championships away and vacated those wins it's a crime because Steve Fisher got paid off them boys. I'm sorry, off them young men. He got paid off those young men. Michigan made billions off them young men. Nike made money off them young men. The Fab Five had owned Nikes. Y'all remember the Hirachis? I don't know how many of y'all old enough to remember when the Fab Five had those Nike Hirachis. Nike made billions off of the Fab Five. I know two of them. I went to school with Chris Webber's siblings. I went to school with him. Noah's parents, Noah's siblings, had dinner at their house. His brother came to my house and we played together on many occasions. Shout out to the Webbers. Great family. Great family. Mr. Webber, Mrs. Webber, great. That's Black excellence. Mr. Webber worked at General Motors, I believe. I believe it was General Motors. And Mrs. Webber was a high school math teacher. They grew up Christian. They went to a Baptist church. I forgot the name of the church. Christian values. They raised their children right. Great family. I love the Webber family. Great family. Jalen Rose, I knew him. He grew up in Southwest Detroit in the projects. Single mother household. Great brother. Always been about the community. So has Chris Webber. I know these cats. They come from humbling beginnings. But the fact that they're playing a sport, they're playing basketball, making Michigan billions of dollars in the early 90s, 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Well, 32 years ago, because they came together in 91. You had Juwan Howard. He came from the south side of Chicago. He's now coach of the men's basketball. I'm stuttering now. Forgive me. That happens. Juwan Howard is now the coach of Michigan, the men's basketball coach at the University of Michigan. This is his fourth season there. Yeah, I believe it's fourth season. Or is it his fifth season? Fourth or fifth season, I can't remember. But in any event, he's the coach of University of Michigan men's basketball team, Juwan Howard, the great Juwan Howard. Then you had Ray Jackson from Texas, Jimmy King, also from Texas, joining Chris Webber and Jalen Rose. They formed the Fab Five. Them boys were phenomenal. They revolutionized college basketball. They changed it. They changed college basketball. They started wearing the baggy shorts, the black Nike socks. Who was wearing black socks and baggy shorts before the Fab Five? I dare you. Name. Put a name out there. I double dog dare you. Who started wearing that? The black Nikes, the black socks, the baggy basketball shorts. Who was doing it? The Fab Five started that. They revolutionized college basketball. They started a trend that lasts till this day, 30 something years later. Am I right or am I absolutely right? And Chris Webber took money from a donor and Michigan paid the price for it when this young man couldn't even take money from his coach. You want to punish university from something that he should have been rightfully deserving, but you made billions off of him, off of Jalen Rose, off of Juwan Howard, who's now your coach. Make that make sense. Ray Jackson and Jimmy King, who didn't have careers in the NBA like Juwan, Jalen, and Chris Webber did. Juwan Howard, Chris Webber, and Jalen Rose, they had excellent careers in the NBA. I believe Juwan was an all-star. I know Chris Webber was on multiple occasions. Jimmy King and Ray Jackson, they got drafted, but they didn't really make it in the NBA. They didn't they didn't have NBA success like those other three did. But this is going back to what I'm saying with college football. These athletes, they train year round. College football, you have to stay conditioned. You're playing a violent sport. You having these young men travel across the country to play a violent sport, and then you expect them to do well in the classroom. You expect them to do well on the field. Well, let me rephrase that. You expect them to do well on the field before the classroom. Let's keep it 1,000. They could do well in the classroom. Okay, that's okay, whatever. But we want you to do phenomenal on that football field, boy. We want you to make us the minions, boy. You better tackle. You better sack that quarterback. You better catch that ball and run and score that touchdown. You better run, run for them touchdowns. That's exactly well, no, they're $1 billion slaves now, brother. But yeah, you're right. They're not even getting millions. Whatever the NIL deal is, I don't know how much they're getting paid. I know it's a lot of sponsors now, but yeah, but you're right though, because it's a $1 billion industry. But you're right, they're slaves. You're absolutely right. Generate billions, yeah, annually. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Run for those touchdowns now, there, boy. Blake Corum, you run through that middle. We know you had a devastating knee injury to end your season last year, but boy, you better run for them touchdowns. You run up that sideline. If you get tackled and get hurt, oh well, that's part of the game. Donovan Edwards. Meanwhile, Jim Harbaugh, and I love Jim Harbaugh. This is not a slight on him, not to disparage him, but he's getting his millions. Jim Harbaugh could quit coaching the University of Michigan right now, and the university would still pay him, and the NFL would be blowing his phone up. Jim Harbaugh is going to be okay. Jim Harbaugh will be okay. Dabo Swinney, that racist doofus hick, is going to be okay. I cannot stand Dabo Swinney. I'm glad Clemson lost to Duke last night. Nick Saban is going to be okay. Sarkisian down in Texas is going to be okay. Chip Kelly at UCLA is going to be okay. Lincoln, what's his name? Lincoln Riley at USC, it's going to be okay. Ryan Day at that school that's south of Michigan, in that state that's south of Michigan, he's going to be okay. Well, yeah, he will. And no, this is probably going to be his last year because he's going to lose to Michigan for a third straight year. And he's probably going to be out of there. Out of there. Matt Rule is going to be okay at Nebraska. James Franklin is going to be okay at Penn State. Y'all get what I'm saying? I remember that. That was a couple of years back. Mizzou. I remember that. We need more like those football players at the University of Missouri, Mizzou. They sure did. I would never forget that. And the dean stepped down. Well, they need to take a stand against this joining conferences because it's ridiculous. But we know they don't have power like that because the coaches want it. Well, some of them may not want it, but the majority of the coaches are for it. Tara Vanderveer, the coach, the women's basketball coach at Stanford, women's college basketball coach at Stanford, she was for it. She's for Stanford joining the ACC. We know why that is. She's part of the establishment. She don't have to worry about, going out there on the court, flying back and forth across the country, trying to perform. You're coaching basketball, Tara Vanderveer. But she was all for it. She said it last week. I'm all for it. So a lot of these coaches are all for it because it's going to benefit them too. The players need to stand up and say enough is enough. But they fighting the establishment because not only are they fighting the athletic directors at their universities, but then they fighting the conference presidents, and then they fighting the ultimate devils, the television networks, your ESPNs, your Peacocks, your Foxes, your ABCs, your CBS. So they're going up against a whole lot. One second, plug my device in. But this just annoys me to no end. It annoys me to no end. It really gets on my nerves. It's wrong. You're ruining a sport that I love. I'm a traditionalist. Michigan, Michigan State, Michigan, that school that's south of Michigan. The tradition, the game. Is that gonna mean anything now? Now that USC and UCLA is joining the Big Ten? Michigan, Purdue, Michigan and Penn State, Michigan and Minnesota. Northwestern and Minnesota, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Is it gonna have any meaning now? They wanna and they what they want to do, they want to have two conferences, really. Big Ten, SEC. Those are your two powerhouse conferences. The Big Ten and the SEC. SEC, you have your Alabamas, your LSUs, your Georgias now. Georgia has been dominant the last 3 years in SEC. Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Next year it's going to be Texas and Oklahoma. Tennessee is starting to come up now. Florida is not. They're struggling. Auburn, Alabama. Big Ten, you have your Michigan. That school that's south of Michigan. Um, Penn State, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So that's what they want. That's what they want. They're already extending the CFP next year to I think 16 teams. So even if Michigan loses 2 or 3 games, they still could be in the college football playoff. They're watering it down. They're watering their brand down. Money, the love of money, excuse me, to lust for money ruins everything. To lust after money, it's evil. It ruins everything. It's watering down your product now. Watering down your product. It really is. To lust after money. Y'all already are making billions as it is. Now y'all want to make more. Where does it stop? Are we going to take it overseas now? That's what they're doing with the NFL, the NBA, and the Major League Baseball. They want to start playing games overseas, in London, in Japan, down in Mexico. They're ruining their brand. Make sense. I'll also be remiss. The job that Deion Sanders is doing at Colorado. I'm glad they beat TCU because I'm still mad that Michigan lost to TCU in the college football playoff. But that's another day. Congrats to Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders. The job that brother's doing in God, what's the town where Colorado is at? Boulder. The job that brother's doing in Boulder, Colorado, already is phenomenal. So much respect to you, Prime. Much respect. I the only thing that bothers me about that is the way that it was done. I wish Prime would have stayed at Jackson State and continued his legacy there, because just because Deion Sanders beat TCU and is going to do well at Colorado, it's not a win for the black community. I'm going to repeat what I just said. Just because Deion Sanders is winning games out in Boulder, Colorado, or win will games out there, and will give them a successful season or seasons in the next few years, it's not a win for the black community. It's a win for the white community. It's a win for Colorado, the University of Colorado, not us. Jackson State, that was a win for the black community because that's a HBCU. And these HBCUs are still suffering. And when Dion took his talents and went to Colorado, he did that for him and his family. But it hurt Jackson State because it made them be like, well, damn, I guess we ain't good enough, huh? And people say it was a money thing. But when you build your empire, the money will come. When you build your name, the money will come. The money will be there. The money will always be there. It's going to come. Once you stay and build a legacy at a school like Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi, and HBCU, the money's going to come. It's going to help the it's going to help the HBCUs. They're suffering. I saw a game on Sunday, Morehouse and Virginia Union. Let me tell you, we have some phenomenal athletes. We already know that in Division One football. Of course, we know that. But have y'all seen the games? Have y'all seen these HBCU college football games? There are some talented young brothers out there, some great coaches. A lot of legends have came from HBCUs into the NFL. Doug Williams, Everson Walls, so many more. Um, the late great Steve McNair, Air McNair, went to Alcorn State. So many phenomenal football players are in HBCUs, and we don't get to see them. Now they're starting to show certain games, but we don't see them on a weekly basis, and it's suffering. It's suffering, and it's not fair. And I just hate the fact that Dion. I mean, I get why he did it, but I just hate the fact that Jackson State, it's like, well, damn, I guess we ain't good enough. Colorado Buffaloes in Boulder, Colorado, where it's cold. When was the last time Colorado Buffaloes been good at football? Been a powerhouse in college football? Can anyone remember? I know the Cordell Stewart, Rashawn Salam years, but that was 30 years ago. Didn't they win just one game last year or something like that? Jackson State. That's where the great Walter Payton graduated from. Who, as far as I'm concerned, and I love Barry Sanders, but Walter Payton is the greatest running back as far as I'm concerned. I love Sweetness, the late great Walter Payton. He attended Jackson State. Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley State. So many phenomenal athletes have come out of HBCUs. We the late great Eddie Robinson at Grambling State, all time winningest college football coach. Well, I think it's Bobby Bowden now, but whatever. But because he stayed longer than Eddie Robinson, he coached longer than Eddie Robinson. Or is it still Eddie Robinson? I think it's still Eddie Robinson. But in any event, as far as I'm concerned, the late great Eddie Robinson is the greatest college football coach ever, ever, ever. They should name Coach of the Year award in college football after Eddie Robinson. They should. The man was a legend. He, he did so much in the lives of young black men, and it's sad that it just go unnoticed. But this is America. But again, congrats to Prime. He's going to do good out there in Boulder, Colorado. I just wish he would have stayed at Jackson State and continued to create his brand, because him doing well at Boulder, it's not a win for black people. It's a win for Colorado. Him doing well at Jackson State was a win for the community, because that's one of our universities. It's a HBCU. Again, this is the last year of normality in college football, and it pains me because I hate it that they want to do these power conferences now, but I saw it coming a few years back. They want to get rid of the Pac-12, the um the big the Big 12, the ACC, and let's have two power conferences, maybe three, because the main schools, the schools that represent college football will always win the championships are is they come from the Big Ten or the SEC. Lately, it's been the SEC, but this is the one people want to see: your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Michigan, that school that's south of Michigan. They want to see these schools. They want to see them. They don't care about the Virginia Techs. Florida State is playing good now. Florida State is going to be, they could be in the college football playoff. Clemson is slipping. Clemson is ever since Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne uh, departed from Clemson, they have been slipping. They have been slipping. It's all about the money and never tradition. Exactly. The tradition in sports is gone now. It's gone. It's gone. The NBA, they want to do a tournament now. It's it's gone. It's run amok. It's a mess. Again, if it ain't broke, why try to fix it or make it better? Leave it the way it was. This play-in tournament in the NBA is the dumbest. It's the dumbest shit one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It's stupid. Just have a regular 82 game season and keep it 1 through 8 in the Eastern Conference, 1 through 8 in the Western Conference. Forget all this play-in tournament. If you ain't in the top 8, you don't deserve to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I hate it. It's stupid. Leave it the way it was. This whole thing with football was 7 teams get in, a 17 game schedule. That was dumb. The NFL Players Association, they should be ashamed of themselves that they allowed Roger Goodell and the owners to get away with that 17 game season. The players didn't want it. And the Players Association, the fact that y'all allowed this to happen, y'all are useless. Y'all are pathetic. Grow a pair. Why don't you negotiate the players getting more money instead of their signing bonus? But y'all are slaves too. Y'all are slaves representing slaves. Y'all work for Master too. So it is what it is. I hate these teams joining these conferences, these West Coast teams joining East Coast conferences or Midwest conference. I hate it that Cal and Stanford is joining the ACC and that USC and UCLA are joining the Big Ten. I hate it. I think it's stupid. But money talks and we know what walks. Hit that thumbs up button, smash that thumbs up button down, hit the subscribe button so you get notifications on the new videos on here. All right, y'all. Till next time, y'all take care. I'm gonna hop off of here, grab some grub. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. Sisters as well as brothers, like I keep saying to y'all, whether you're taking your kids to school, picking them up, going to work, leaving home, running errands, wherever the case may be, beware and be aware. Beware and be aware. This devil is busy now, so more than ever. So beware and be aware. Take any and all precautions and watch as well as pray and take the necessary action. I love y'all. Um, Share this video, get it out there. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. We don't have to agree, but let's agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Let's do that, y'all, especially on a topic such as this. Let's do that. So share it. Continue to support my podcast and this YouTube channel. I can't do these without your love and support. So continue to support your brother. Thank you. It'd be greatly, 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 greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. All right. Till next time, y'all take care. I love y'all. And just take care of yourselves and each other. All right. I'm out. Peace and blessings.